All right, so at this particular case, we have a. I'm sorry. We have a free fall. So h of t. Well, sorry, we're gonna start with a gravitation constant. So gravitation, gravitation, T-A-T-I-O-N, constant. Is equal to what? What is the gravitation constant? Somebody raise your hand. Tell me. It's not equal to. Landon. 9.81 what? What unit? No. Oliver? Meter per second square. Thank you. 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, this is in physics though. So physics. In calculus is equal to negative what? 32 feet per second. Okay, so nobody knows that because you can convert. Now, did anybody know what's the gravitation constant at the moon? It's 1/6 of the Earth. So it'll be 9.8 divided by 6. What is that? Okay. So what the gravitational constant means? So so let's just say I have some type of building height, and so there was a building. We don't know how tall this building is. Actually, we're gonna make it longer. So we don't know how high this building is. Now there is two ways to figure out how high this building is. Depends if you're on the top of the building or you're on the bottom of the building, and the certain situation has to exist. So how would I find the height of the building? Two ways. Do you know how to find one way? Yes, Emily.
Is that the one where you like measure, you take your height and then you measure the shadow and then you ratio that, something like that?
Okay, good. So you can go measure the height of the building, the shadow of the building, versus your height and your shadow length, because that's create a similar triangle. If you that just say if you have 6 feet, cast 3 feet shadow, and if I go measure the shadow is 200 feet, then this building is probably 100 feet. So, or the other way. I don't know which way is it. I don't know what I say, but there should be a similar triangle relationship. Emma, come back to me. Okay. So, the second way is what? How do I find out the height of second way? So first way is look at the shadow of the building. What will be the second way to find out how high the building is? Besides Emily. Emily already answered first time. How do I find out how high the building? Yes, Jacob.
You gotta take a yardstick and measure.
You know how many yardstick you need for like 192 feet high?
Have you seen in the cartoons when they have the plungers? They scale like that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 64 yardsticks or 2 feet.
Okay, so this is a known building height. How would I find a building height? Second way.
Oh, crap, something off this.
Okay, Oliver. Okay, you find the time, but then do you know the equation that does that? You're not wrong. He's somewhere. So let's talk about free fall. What'd you say?
1/2 at.
Yeah, that's pretty close, but it said the acceleration in here is what? What's the acceleration here? It's a negative 16t squared. It's a half of g. So g is 32, so it's a half of g. So this, remember, h of t is, the free fall is h of t is equal to half gt squared. Half of gt squared. And the h of t is equal to negative 16t squared. What does that mean? That means if I were to do a t chart here, and this is a t chart, this is a t, and the h of t, if it's 0 second, it's gonna fall exactly 0 feet. Duh, that's before you drop the ball, right? Now what if you drop a ball for 1 second? How far it's gonna fall? 16, or, you know, 4.9 meter, which is, this is falling 16 feet. Okay, this is about how far that from here to jump down. It takes 1 second, about 16 feet, I would say. A little bit more or less. Depend, I think, if you jump from a window. So if I decide to jump out a window, okay, it's gonna take 1 second to fall on the ground, then that's 16 feet. It doesn't matter how fat you are or how skinny you are, you're gonna land at the same time. Okay. So what happens in 2 seconds? Jacob, what happened in 2 seconds?
What's gonna happen?
How far it's gonna fall in 2 seconds?
Yeah, we're gonna plug that in for t.
Which is what?
Negative 16t squared. So that's gonna be negative 16 times 4, which is negative 64.
Good job, good job. Okay, it's gonna fall 64 feet. So that's like 6th floor. Now the chance of survival of that about probably like 90. Well, you're probably gonna be dead at 90% of the time. 6th floor. I mean, if you learn how to fall, maybe you might survive, but I don't know. I don't know if you can survive in 64 feet, which 2 seconds. In 3 seconds, it's gonna fall how much? 144. Good. In 4 seconds, it's gonna fall how much? 256. In 5 seconds, it will fall how much? $400. Good. So this is how fast they fall. So you count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. That's about 400 feet. Okay. I think I saw a Mark Ruber video about, he was talking about how to measure the height of a bungee jumping. I think he was in a bungee jump, and he's gonna measure how fast the land. I love Mark Ruber video. I love like Veritasm video. They are very informative and also a lot of learning. I really enjoyed it. So that in terms of scale, like each space, right? Each space here is gonna be 16 feet. So in 1 second, it's gonna fall this much. In 2 seconds, it's gonna fall this much. In 3 seconds, it's gonna fall this much. In 4 seconds, it's gonna fall this much. Is that okay? In 5 seconds, it's gonna fall this much. Wait, hold on a second more. This much. So this is the 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, and 5 second. And this is a correct scale because each space it's gonna fall exact 16 feet. So this is a half gt squared, or it can be h of t is equal to negative 4.9 because of half of gravity t squared. So this is in physics. So this is what you see, half at squared, which is this. Any does that make sense? It's for physics.
You
If
don't need to worry about
yeah, in physics you're using 4.9, and the reason why I it's not like I'm a big fan of feet per second square. I don't like feet at all. We are the only country that using feet. Even the people who established the feet doesn't use it anymore because it's based on King's feet. It's imperial system at London, so it doesn't make sense using feet. But for me, actually, I like it in this particular case because 16 is much more easier to factorable because the question I'm gonna give it to you is not a calculated question. Yes.
which one's correct, physics or calculus.
Well, physics is correct. Now I'm gonna using for calculation purpose. I'm gonna use feet per second just because easier to calculate or on certain situation. A number I can give it to you is all factorable. It's really easy, hard to factor 4.9. So that's why some of your teacher using 5 rather than 4.9 or 10 on the gravitation. So half of g is going to be 5. Okay. So in physics, AP physics, I use 5. Okay, so that's free fall. Now, if I says this is Mr. Ye right here is on top of the building, he's not going to jump off, don't worry. But he decided to hit like a golf ball, right? So he take a swing at a golf ball, and the golf ball is gonna go up, and it's gonna come down. Okay, so it's gonna go up and come down. And if that's the situation, it's called projectile. Is you project something. You can project something at a floor. You don't have to be on top of a building. But we do add one more dimension if it's on top of a building. It's not one more dimension, it's one more calculations that we had to do. So we're gonna do it on top of the building to see that. But yeah, so the things about this is what you need to understand something is this. Wait, where's my camera? It's okay. Camera's not working. So what happened is I can have a ping pong ball here. Okay, so interesting about ping pong ball is this. Once you hit and when it bounce like this, the instant when the ball hit the paddle, it's gonna create some type of initial velocity. Is that okay? But after the moment when the ball is leaving just even 1 centimeter, even like half centimeter, even 0.1 centimeter, soon as the ball left the paddle, the initial velocity is already there, and doesn't matter what paddle is doing right now, because when that moment when I leave, everything's controlled by gravitation constant. So when you hit a ball up, the balls go up, it's going to create a positive velocity because the thing's going up, so we claim that's positive. Is that okay? So when it go up, it's going to be positive, but no longer any force can act on the ball except gravitation constant. So you have positive initial velocity go up. So at this point, when the ball is going up, you got positive initial velocity. But when you go to the highest point, it's because the balls before they drop become the highest point. The highest point, the initial the velocity will become 0. Why? Because your positive velocity start taken away by gravitation constant, because gravitation constant is negative. Your initial velocity is positive, so the negatives start taken away more and more and more each time when they reach the maximum. And then after that, the velocity is equal to 0, and after that, it's going to go down, becomes more negative. So I'm going to tell you 3 situations here. Soon as I hit a golf ball, soon as the golf ball left the club has no impact to the velocity anymore. So at this particular situation, V0 here is greater than 0 when they hit the ball. Is that okay? At this highest point here, this V0, the V of t is what? It's equal to 0. Does that make sense? Anything after the highest point, V of t is less than 0. It's negative. Because velocity has a direction. So 2 things has direction. Acceleration has direction, always going down. Acceleration is always negative. Velocity can change, depends on the times. So at very first, when you hit the ball up, then guess what? Your initial velocity is positive. Your velocity is positive. When it reaches the highest point, when it changes direction, that velocity is going to be equal to 0. After that, velocity is going to be negative. Is that okay? Okay. Now, with that being said, also, what's the difference between speed and velocity? Speed has no direction sense. Speed is only talk about magnitude. So the whole time, speed is only positive or 0. If it goes up, speed is positive. At the top, speed is 0. When it goes down, the speed is positive again. Because speed doesn't matter which direction. It has no justification of, it has no relevance to a direction you're going. I can go in this way, it's 100 miles per hour, then I'm still going to be positive. If going this way, it's going to be 100 miles per hour, I'm still going to be positive. But if I design one side is positive, one side is negative of velocity, I can say I'm going this way, it's positive velocity, going this way has to be negative velocity. Does that make sense? So velocity has a direction, acceleration has direction. Speed does not. Speed is only magnitude. Are we okay, Emma? Okay. All right. So let's talk about projectile. So in this special case is I'm going to stand on top of a 192 feet building. So this is 192. And why not 192? Because this is a nice number, it's factorable by 16. So I use the 192. Monsieur decided to hit a golf ball around this golf ball is going to go up and it's going to come down. Okay. This golf ball is going at initial speed is V0 of t. V0 is equal to 64 feet per second. If you guys don't know how fast that is, it's not really fast, about 43 miles per hour. 64 feet per second. 64 feet per second. So this word problem is going to tell you Mr. Ye is on top of a 192-foot building and the head ball about 64 feet per second upwards, not downwards, because I can smash it downward. That will be negative. But I'm going to hit it upwards, so it's positive 64. Is that okay? So we're going to build a projectile function. What is projectile function? Is h of t is equal to, well, projectile function, of course, you're going to have the initial velocity times time, right? Plus the initial position. But that's just very the beginning, when you hit the ball and how high you're hitting the ball. Now, that's not including something impact to the ball at all time, which is the free fall, which is here is negative 16t squared plus This part is the free fall. Right now we are falling, even though we stand on the ground, but we are falling. And that's the reason why we can run, we can walk, is because of the gravity. A lot of people say gravity is bad, but if gravity is bad, then everybody will be flowing. And how are you going to move from one place to the other place? Right? You can't really move with no gravity. Yes.
What's the last thing that's adding to it?
S0. We're going to talk about that. So h of t is equal to the height at given time. And t is equal to time in terms of second. It cannot minute, not hour. What is the v0? v0 is called initial velocity. Anytime you see a v naught, which is v0, that's known as initial. That means the velocity when time equal to 0. Am I going too fast? Okay. So initial velocity. And what is S0? That's initial height. Initial positions. Now sometimes I use height equation. In this case, is h of t is the height, right? Sometimes I use s of t, that means positions. So I think it's interchangeable in terms of things. I can write down s of t, but most of the time if I represent the height, I'm going to use h of t. But in this case, it's a position, where the position is, which is where's the height at that given time. So sometimes I use s of t, sometimes I use h of t. Now, knowing the calculus part, where's the calculus? Calculus says the h prime of t is equal to velocity. And h double prime of t is equal to acceleration. So if you take a first derivative, it's a velocity equation. If you take a second derivative, it's acceleration. So the way I kind of told people is P V A. What does P stand for? P stands for position, velocity, acceleration. So that is going to be derivative. If you're going up, is integration. It's integration. It's integral. Or integration, or antiderivative. So if you're going up, it's antiderivative. It's going down, it's derivative. Position, velocity, acceleration. If I integrate, it's going to go from acceleration to velocity. It's going from velocity to positions. Yes?
So like how do you go like to go like down?
So you take a derivative.
So how do you go back up?
It's antiderivative. We haven't learned that yet. Yes.
What do you play on the right side between position and velocity?
Antiderivative. If you antiderivative, it's going from acceleration to velocity and from velocity to positions.
Sure, can you read out like what the formula says?
What the what?
What the formula is, just to make sure I'm writing it.
H of t is equal to negative 16c squared, which is that's the free fall part. And the impact when you hit the ball is the initial velocity times time. So v0 times time plus v0 times time. And then plus s0 is initial position. It's like at t equals 0, what is my positions? Yes, Miranda?
Is the free fall always negative 16c squared?
If it's in feet per second square, if we use the imperial system, it's going to be negative 16. It's half of gravitational constant. It's a half of negative 32, so that's why it's negative 16. Now in physics, which is we're not gonna do in my class, I'm gonna use negative 32 feet per second. In physics, we use negative 9.8 meter per second. So in free fall, it's actually negative 4.9 t squared because a half of the gravitation constant. Is this okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I am gonna give you the situation. So this is S0 is equal to 192. Is that okay? V0 is equal to 64 feet per second. Is that okay? So can I do a projectile function, which is h of t is equal to negative 16t squared plus v0t plus s0. Which is equal to negative 16t squared plus what? 64t plus 192. Is that okay? This is the projectile function. How do I find the velocity function? Take a derivative. So can I say v of t in this case is what? Negative 32t plus what? Plus 64 because 192 is going to go 0, t is going to go 1. Is that okay? Is that too fast? Okay, so I can ask you a lot of questions after this. So part A, I can ask you, says, hey, can you find the time it reached maximum height? B, can you find, or maybe keep some space. B, can you find the maximum height of an object? C, can you find the average velocity between t equal to 1 and t equal to 4. Now realize that this is not average velocity. This is called instantaneous velocity. Do you guys know the difference between instantaneous velocity and average velocity? What's the difference, Jacob?
Average velocity would be like the mean velocity between 1 and 4. And then the instantaneous velocity would just be it at a certain time. So like v1 would just be negative 32 plus 64. But v or t equals 2 would be negative 64 plus 64.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So you are in the thinking the right perspective. Now, anybody ever get pulled over by cops in this classroom? How fast you were driving?
Allegedly 85 over 45.
Whoa.
Allegedly.
Where?
Off of Violin and
I got a funny story.
Hypothetically.
Okay, so Damien, that speed should be in jail.
No, I got a pretty. It was a pretty light ticket. I'm not gonna lie.
Gotta be deported for a day.
Because last period, Alex Ballard says he got $304 for 80 on 70.
Wow.
And Ethan says he got 87 on 45, which is similar like you. You guys should be in jail.
It was only it was actually only the ticket, so
How much is ticket?
it was only $330. My officer, I don't know, he was just a deputy officer.
Yeah, you got lucky. Because everything over like 25 is that in jail, right?
Yeah,
That
it's
should
like
be in
reckless
jail.
driving.
Yeah, I got a funny story in speed.
Oh.
Sure, what's your funny story?
It was the first day after Caden got his permit, and just got in my car. And I was trying to be like a good friend. I was like, yo, do you want to take my car for a spin? I'll let you like drive it like just up and down the road right by his house. And he lives in Windermere. And so I let him drive my car, and I was like, oh, you could just like push on the gas a little bit. And we were on like a road that was 30, and he ended up going like 67 or like 58, some crazy speed like that. And when we were pulling back into his driveway, there was a cop behind us, and he started blaring the lights. And
he doesn't have a license.
he doesn't have a license, and I'm not over 18. But the cop let us go free because it was the first day he got his permit. But all he did is he went inside Caden's house and like got his parents out there and like had a lecture in front of Caden's parents for the both of us. He was like, I was 16 once. I was stupid. I get what you guys are doing. Just don't.
Yeah, Caden is lucky he's white. If he was black, then he would be in jail. I'm just speaking the truth. D. Find the average velocity between t equal to 1 and t equal to 4. And D is says, hey, can you find the time when the ball hit the ground? And E is going to be find the time, find the velocity when it hit the ground. So there's two things. I want to find the time when it hit the ground, and the second thing is I want to find the time when it hit the ground, or find the velocity when it hit the ground. Okay. So let's start by finding time to reach maximum height. Okay, let me ask some people. That says, Fabian, how do I find the time when it reach maximum height?
So when I was first looking at it, I should probably know how to do this, but like, I can really just plug in 1 through 4 into all of them and really see which one was the max. But that probably isn't the most efficient way.
It is not, but that's good realization. So what would it be if you were to think about a more efficient way to do this?
Well, I would want to use the velocity one since there's like 2 t's in the other one in the height. But now I'm thinking about it, I think I want to use the h of t
Okay.
because that actually has height.
Okay. Glitter, do you have a better idea?
Not really.
Not really. Samuel, what do you think?
Well, I would say probably the velocity equation would probably be the best way to,
Why do you say velocity equation?
because you have the initial velocity, right, from when you hit the ball, which is the 64 feet.
You do.
And then yeah, obviously you have the initial position, and you need to find out what point the gravity constant cancels it out. Maybe.
Very good idea. I need you emphasize more.
Let's do the
Yes. Okay. So anything I can do here? So Samuel, can you elaborate that?
No, not really.
No? Okay, how about Hannah? What do you think? What?
I think today is good weather.
Today is a good Friday. Today's not even Friday, is it? It's Monday. Today's Tuesday. Emily, what would you think?
First off, I was also thinking I'm plugging in numbers, but that's definitely not the way to go.
Definitely not the way to go. The answer is in the notes. Alien?
Do we set the velocity equation equal to 0 because we know when it reaches maximum height, the velocity is 0.
Remember here, V of t is reach 0. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can take the V of t equation. So V of t is equal to 0. That means equal to maximum height. So that means 32t plus 64 is equal to 0. So minus 32t is equal to negative 64. T is equal to 2. So take 2 seconds. It takes 2 seconds to have velocity is equal to 0. But velocity equal to 0 only happen at a maximum height because that's a place when you change direction, changing going from positive velocity to negative velocity. Does that make sense? Is this okay? This is what you're gonna think about tomorrow because the exact same question is different number. Yeah, different number. You just have to apply it. Yeah, there's a retest tomorrow. Yeah, that'll be like freaking how many times you take a retest.
Wait, is it gonna be the same?
The people who don't need a retake Larissa, Leanne, Oliver. Leanne need a retake like 6 times, but
Which week?
Samuel did well too.
Yeah, you did.
He got 85 or 95?
89.
89. Okay, yeah, you don't have to retake. But retake is gonna including this question plus all the reiterate. Yes.
Is it gonna be the same shapes on the retake?
You should know all the shape. I did including all the shape there, so yeah.
I don't know. What's the one? Cylinder. I don't know.
It's not that bad.
I like.
I don't think I have cylinder on the test, so.
I like sphere. I like. Sphere.
All right. How do I find the maximum height?
You just
Plug
put it back
in
in.
2.
Plug in the 2 into the original equation, into the height equation. So 2 equal to negative 16 times 2 squared plus 64 times 2 plus 192. So that's equal to negative 64 plus 128 plus 192. I think that's equal to 256 feet.
Yeah.
So how do I find the average velocity? Now, average velocity, people will plug in the velocity equation. That'll be wrong. Do not ever plug in velocity equation. Ever. Its average velocity is actually changing of position over changing of time. Changing of position over changing of time. So in this case is the changing position. In this case of changing height. So you need to figure out height at 4 and the height at 1 over 4 minus 1. I think height at 4 is, I'm not sure. Let me look it up. Height at 4 is 192. Height at 1 is 240 over 3. So that's going to be 48 over 3. That's equal to negative 16 feet per second. Is that okay? That's all right? So a lot of times people think about average velocity, they plug in velocity equation. Please don't do that tomorrow. Even though I say that right now, tomorrow people is going to plug in the velocity equation. That will be average acceleration rather than average velocity. Please do not do that. I'm going to say that now, and people's going to do it tomorrow.
Where did you get the 192 and the 240 from?
I plug in 4 into the height equation.
The
I plug in 4 into this equation. And I know this is 192. H1 is equal to 240. So I plug in 4 into the height equation. Okay, find the ball when the ball hit the ground. When's the time when the ball hit the ground? How do I find the ball when I hit the ground? What do you mean hit the ground mean? Yes.
Wouldn't that just mean wouldn't that just mean the h of t is gonna be 0?
Yeah, that means height ground is height is equal to 0, right? So can I do 0 equal to negative 16t squared plus 64t plus 192? Now please don't use quadratic formula because you don't have calculator tomorrow. And so any other way, this is why I use 16 rather than 4.9. Because this is a factorable. So what can I factor out of those three numbers? 16, 64, and 192. You can factor out 16. Who said 16? Good. But sometimes you cannot factor 16, at least factor out 4. But factor out negative though. Factor out negative 16, you're gonna get t squared minus what? 4t and minus 4. And that's equal to negative 16 times t minus 6 and t plus 2. Does that make sense? T equal to 6, t equal to negative 2. So 6 is how long to the hit the ground. Negative 2 doesn't count because you cannot get a negative time. So you can get a positive time.
T minus 6,
T equal to negative 2 and t equal to 6.
No.
Now you want to find the velocity when they hit the ground. How do I find the velocity when they hit the ground? Yeah, you have velocity. This is called instantaneous velocity. This is why I say when you get pulled over. When you get pulled over, when a laser gun shoot at you, that is called a instantaneous velocity. But you cannot tell the cop says, you know what? I was driving in Pop-Up Vineland for like 20 miles per hour. And now driving like near my house, I'm driving 10 miles per hour. I cannot average the speed. You want to average the distance over the different time. So that average velocity is not correct. What cops see is that moment when you get caught. When you drive 87, he doesn't care if you're right next to your neighborhood, you drive 20. He care about when you're in Pop-Up Island, you drive 64, 84. So that's called instantaneous velocity rather than average velocity. So now I'm going to plug in 6 in here. So therefore, just going to be negative 32 times 6 minus 64. Or plus 64, sorry. So that's equal to negative 192 plus 64. That's equal to negative 128. So the negative minus 128 feet per second, that's roughly 83 miles per hour. So that's when the ball hit the ground. When the golf ball hit the ground. That's enough to, I don't know if it will kill you or not. Like, it was a Mythbuster. They actually did a penny on top of a Twin Tower before they got bombed. They say the penny can go through the skull, but the penny cannot go through the skull. It's because of air resistance. Because the penny is flat, it will go down. It will become flat, and it will have reach a terminal speed at a certain speed. It's not enough to go through people's skull. A golf ball might go through it. Actually, golf ball, I don't know. I think it's still gonna reach terminal speed if high enough. Yes.
How do we know when to use like feet per second or feet per second squared? Or like
acceleration is gonna be feet per second square. If you think about it, right? That's a good question. Since you mentioned that, that's a great question to talk about. Is the h of t is gonna be feet, right? H prime of t, which is a velocity, is going to be feet per second, right? Because you take it to respect to time. So h double prime of t, which is the v prime of t, which is equal to a of t, is equal to feet per second squared, because you take it to respect to time again. So that's why the unit, it keep on going. The second is going to second and second square. Great question. Any other questions? So you're gonna get one whole question, just different number. I will probably says, hey, the Mr. Ye decided to, you know, go up on a building of, I don't know, 80 feet high or 80 like 256 feet high with the 80 initial velocity. And then I'm gonna ask you all the following equations, same following questions is. And this question, you should breeze by that question because you should know exactly what to do on each individual one. Because this is just basic physics.
Each of these are gonna be worth 2 checks.
No, one check.
That's cool.
And then also your relay test, but you had to do the test a lot faster and more accurate this time. So that means you had to go back to relay, understand everything you need to do. So for level of difficulty, this test will be harder because it's gonna be more questions with a less time. But they have one question that if you really know that it's always gonna be the same setup, it's gonna be the same setup. Yes, Miranda.
Are you putting cylinders on it?
No, I don't think cylinders really relevant. I mean, I can, but
No
I-
cylinder, no pyramid.
Yeah.
no pyramid.
Yeah.
I didn't give you a pyramid equation anyway.
No cube.
Cube is easy. That's the easiest one.
I forgot it. Forgot it. Yeah, I know what it is now, but I forgot it on the time.
Length, width, and height. Any other questions? All right, up you out. Oh, there's 2 viewer. I wonder who are those 2. Winston. Who else?
Or the
Yeah, no,